Oh boy. So let's talk about Turkey. President Erdogan, the president of Turkey, just went on TV and said this.
Ya İsrail, sen buralara nasıl geldin? Nasıl girdin? Sen bir işgalcisin. Sen bir örgütsün. Dolayısıyla Türk milleti bunu biliyor. İsrail, biz de seni savaş suçlusu olarak dünyaya ilan edeceğiz. Gazze'de savunma değil, açık ve alçak bir katliam yürütülmektedir. Gazze halkının sergilediği vakur, kararlı ve inançlı duruş, tarihe şanlı bir direniş destanı olarak yazılacaktır.
Hamas is not a terrorist organization. Israel is a terrorist organization. And that some of the lands of Europe, the NATO partners of Turkey, should be part of Turkey as part of the old Ottoman Empire. So a lot of craziness in this speech, and I want to break it down here. But first of all, I want to answer this question because everybody's wondering right now what's going on with Turkey. The scene is very clear when it comes to the US and the west of Europe and Israel versus China, Iran, Russia, and the proxies, right? But what's going on with Turkey? That's the big mystery. On the one hand, Turkey is a NATO member. On the other hand, the whole rhetoric is very pro-Russia, China, Iran right now. So, are we headed to World War III? Is Turkey dropping out of NATO? Will Turkey fight Israel over Palestine? Are we talking about a massive regional conflict here? So let's break it down. So, let's talk about where this whole thing is actually coming from. So, the Turkish people have gone through a lot over the past few years. Now, we're talking about a massive earthquake that is still actually in recovery. We're talking about 80% inflation since 2022. It's currently at 60%. A little bit better, but 60% inflation and above for more than a year and a half. We're talking about 35% interest rates. You think 5% in the US is high? These guys are at 35%. We're talking about a complete devaluation of the local currency. The Turkish lira now buys you nothing. We literally went from 18 cents for each Turkish lira just in 2018 to 3.6 cents per Turkish lira. So it's collapsing sixfold over the past 5 or 6 years. So the whole of the Turkish economy is in big trouble. Pensions are gone, savings are gone, and the Turkish government have basically done nothing but fuel this fire by refusing to raise rates when it was still manageable because President Erdogan believes that this is not an Islamic thing to do because interest is not legal as per his faith. Now, this is number one. Number two, President Erdogan just won an election, a rigged election, and he barely just won a rigged election after being in power for the last 20 years. So we're talking about a dictator who's kind of fading away. He just barely managed to win a very unfair election. The reason is, it's always the same reason. It's the economy, stupid. It's the economy, and that is where he's losing. He's losing the people, he's losing the pensions, people's futures are ruined. And Turkey is an importer country. They don't export like China. They import everything. Energy, goods, raw materials. So as an importer, when your currency gets devalued from 18 to 3.5, and you're going through 60% inflation, and you are the one who did it to yourself by deciding not to raise interest for years, by horrible policy decisions, somebody wants your head. And the people of Turkey really were pissed at President Erdogan. Now, President Erdogan also considered himself, from this religious perspective, from a theological perspective, as the leader of the Sunni Muslim world. There's a big battle right now in the world. Who leads the Muslim world in general? Is it the Shiites from Iran or is it the Sunnis? Now, the leaders of the Sunni world are actually the Saudi Arabians, but Turkey sees itself as a comparable force to Saudi Arabia, and they see themselves as the heirs to the Ottoman Empire, and they should be the one dictating what's going on with Sunni Muslims. And because Gaza and Hamas are Sunni Muslims, he has to take a stand here. And not only that he has to take a stand here as the leader of the Muslims, of the Sunni Muslims, it's also a huge opportunity for him. He needs a bailout, right? If you get a common enemy everybody in your country hates, and you play on the sentiment, oh, the Ottoman Empire, we're going to get Greece back and all these lands that was once ours, we're going to get it back. You play on this sentiment, this nationalistic sentiment of the Ottoman Empire and how everybody hates the Jews, and you distract them from the economy, which is exactly what he's doing right now. He didn't invent this playbook. It existed for a long time. This isn't new. Now, On the other hand, I hear people talking about, let's kick Turkey out of NATO. It is impossible. Turkey is a massively important NATO member. They're the second biggest military in NATO with 250,000 big army. It's only second to the US, and they're the biggest in the region. In the region that they're at, there's nobody with a bigger army. Perhaps Israel, but that's it. So losing them as a NATO member is not an option, but it's not going to come down to this, probably. And here's why. Number one, this is the Middle East we're talking about, so anything can happen. Turkey can declare war on Israel and the US and go crazy, definitely. But is it plausible? Is it logical? Is it likely? Not so much. Because look, even if we ignore the fact that President Erdogan is a dictator that's been in power for 20 years, that he's been slaughtering the Kurds over in Turkey, that Turkey is responsible for the Holocaust of the Armenian people with the 1.5 million genocide. All that aside, let's put the moral debate to the side and let's talk cards, political gameplay, right? Turkey literally cannot afford to get into this war. That's as simple as that. Now, Iran is talking the talk and they believe it. They actually have a skin in this game. They want to annihilate Israel. They want to dominate the Muslim world by showing them that they are better than the Sunnis because they took down Israel. And they also want to kick out this alliance between the Saudis and the Israelis because of the energy that Iran has. So Iran actually has a dog in this race. Turkey doesn't. Turkey is a free rider. Erdogan is free riding this cloud, is cloud chasing this conflict. He's trying to be like Iran, but he doesn't actually want to follow through. Now, that doesn't mean that he will not be drawn into this conflict involuntarily, because when you start talking the talk, sometimes you get dragged into a war, which might happen. But right now, he's in the position of a free rider trying to get some clout off of this to relax, massage his people politically. Now, let's remember what is at stake here. We have the Abraham Accords, we have the relationship with the Saudis, we have the petrodollar, which depends on the Saudis. All of this falls apart if the Israeli thing does not get resolved properly. Now, unlike Ukraine and like other conflicts that were kind of proxied, this one America really cares about. This is a big deal. The entire energy flow in the Middle East, the entire setup of the petrodollar is dependent on the survival of Israel as it stands. So the United States is not going to just let it go down in flames. It will protect it at all costs. It's a massive strategic asset for the United States. So a war with Turkey here is, I wouldn't say impossible, because anything is possible in that part of the world, but it's highly unlikely. Now, look, since 2022, Turkey has been in dire straits. 80% inflation, probably higher based on actual numbers. The lira is pretty much worthless. They're just recovering still from an earthquake. Imports are already expensive as it is, and everything is imported into Turkey. So war means more money they have to spend, which they don't have. Unlike the US, they can't print lira, Turkish lira. They have to buy actual money. So they don't have the luxury of printing endless money. So if they start printing money for war, more inflation on top of that 60% inflation they have. Less foreign direct investments into Turkey, which they desperately need right now. Nobody's going to invest in a country that is going through war. Oil will become more expensive. If that region flames up, regional conflicts, oil becomes more expensive. The number one casualty will be Turkey. The oil imports are going to go through the roof. Not to mention their relationship with the Saudis and all this region. It doesn't make any sense for Turkey to do it. It doesn't mean Erdogan won't do it, because he's proven to be an autocrat, dictator, Islamist, extremist. So he might. But if he's thinking logically, this war for him makes no sense. On the other hand, playing the nationalistic sentiment and rallying the troops behind him, so to speak, against Israel to get that clout points and to get people distracted in Turkey from the economy into this conflict makes a lot of sense for him. Again, would love to hear your comments in the in the comment section. As always, if you want to donate to this channel, I don't have a Patreon for this channel yet. I may do in the future. Go donate to a charity. Let me know in the comments which charity you chose. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.